Hi, I'm Marc Smith. I'm the editor of European Communications, and today I'll be presenting findings from our 5th annual Customer Experience Survey.
I'm going to present some findings from our own research, but before I do, always like to just really sort of have a little think about why we're talking about this. Obviously, Joe's done a very good introduction there, but obviously we'll focus very much down on the actual the European telco space now. And here we're going to present some sort of stories really that we've covered on our website, really just in the last couple of months to illustrate why it's still such a hot topic. This was in January. BT announced plans to hire 1,000 new staff for its customer service teams in the UK, and it said the new hires would help to meet a target of more than 80% of calls to its consumer division coming from the UK by the end of this year. So as we saw earlier, Joe mentioned about the employees. It's a topic we're going to return to again and again this morning. Absolutely key. But BT, 1,000 new hires just this year to try and catch up. We've had Mobile World Congress recently. This is the first of two major announcements on the customer experience front. Vodafone announced they were rolling out Ericsson's data analytics platform across all of its 22 markets in a bid to boost its customer experience. Ericsson's product provides automated next best actions, for example, in the event of network errors and customer queries. They've been doing a trial in Spain, and I said now that's being rolled out across the entire Vodafone footprint, which is really quite interesting, I think. Not to be outdone, the very same day, Telefonica announced that it was also rolling out big data analytics across its entire network. We understand that Huawei is providing the tech for this, hasn't actually been confirmed. But again, very sort of similar really. It features data analytics tools and effort to anticipate outages, black spots, etc. on its network. They slightly behind Vodafone in terms of they are just going to be trialling that in Latin America initially before rolling it out across all their markets again. But quite interesting, it came out exactly the same day. I don't want to say it was a short press release, but they might have seen Vodafone's one first. Next, something maybe sort of slightly different. We've seen people with BT, we've seen technology on the analytics front with Vodafone and Telefonica. Something slightly different from Three in the UK. Ad blocking, really kind of a hot topic, not just in the telecom sector, but more widely. So Three announced in February that it was going to be rolling out ad blocking. It did a trial with, I think it was Shine Technologies from Israel with this. And they said there were several kind of key goals they wanted to achieve with this. One was the belief that advertisers, not consumers, should pay the data charges related to receiving adverts. And second, that consumers should not have their data experience in mobile, quote, degraded by excessive, intrusive, unwanted, or irrelevant adverts. Now, as someone who works in the publishing industry, I really obviously couldn't agree with this less, but we'll skip over that bit. As a consumer, obviously, I'm fully behind that. So that's kind of some of the real sort of news topics that have come up in the last couple of months. As I said, we're going to be talking about specifically our sort of annual research that we do. So this took place in January this year, an online survey. We had 105 respondents, 41% were network operators, 32% were vendors, and the remainder were a mixture of analysts, consultants, regulators, other interested third parties. So, what do you regard as the biggest source of poor customer experience? I'm going to present the results from all the respondents for this one. As you can see, call center experience is the number one, followed by network issues, product service quality, bill shock errors, and then a few other ones as well. We get the several analysts to have a look at our results and comment on them. Adrian Bashnonger is the global telecoms leader at EY, which is Ernst & Young in old money. Picked up, as you can see, a quote there. And this is really related to the online experience piece, which is only got 5% of the vote this year. So it was down in 6th place. It was in 3rd place last year. So perhaps a sense that and that's also the only significant change from last year. Perhaps the sense that operators think, or the industry as a whole thinks, they're kind of getting a handle on their online efforts. But you can see what Adrian says, while the industry pays a lot of attention to the role of digital interfaces in the omnichannel experience, it's very clear that respondents think the call centre is the leading source of poor customer experience. Again, we refer back to what Joe said, we refer back to what BT have announced. The call centre is still front and centre, really, of customer experience efforts. We always ask whether operators expect investment in customer experience to increase over the next 12 months. This year it was 51% said that they did expect investment to increase. Interestingly, that was down from 64% last year. I mean, austerity is supposed to have passed, but not in the telecoms and customer experience space. We ask a second kind of key question off the back of that, was where do they think this investment, whether they'd like to see this investment come from. We basically give them two options. One is sort of technology and one is human resources. And that's the result. Operators want to see their money invested in technology, not in people. So again, a couple of interesting thoughts there. We've talked about the importance of employees. BT obviously believe in it at the moment. Vodafone, Telefonica, it's going into the technology, and that seems to be where everyone else thinks as well. So an interesting one. So that's a new question, so we haven't got any year-on-year comparison, so it'll be interesting to see sort of next year whether that changes or not. What do you regard as the biggest challenge the industry faces within customer experience? This is all respondents, so again, the entire industry has a say on this. Matching customer expectations with the quality of services delivered, providing a consistent experience across all touch points are the top two. We added this time transforming the culture of telcos. It was the first time we've added that as an option. So interesting to see that came straight in at sort of joint second. Certainly something that we agree with. The digital transformation that's happening across the piece is a really, again, another hot topic. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Again, we'll track that sort of going forward about how important people think that is. A few other sort of interesting points. The cost issue, I mean, it's always there. That actually fell from second place to fourth place, so that's gone down, which is interesting. And the other one is measuring customer experience effectively. That fell from third place last year down to fifth this year. Again, going back down to the very bottom, hiring and retaining quality staff seems to be quite not regarded again as the major challenge. Again, something I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this morning. But I think really, what's the takeaway from this? Well, there is no kind of one silver bullet. We all know that. There are a myriad of challenges that operators face, and I think the fact that there is no one challenge which is well above the others really does kind of bring that home. Next one, who is leading your customer experience initiatives? Operators only. C-suite, 37%. A dedicated customer experience manager or director, 43%. And individual managers are sort of taking it upon themselves to deliver a lead on customer experience stuff. Again, this is something we track year on year. What is really interesting this year, I think, is that the respondents who said the C-suite more than doubled. So we really are seeing, and we have one here today, one of the C-suite who is a chief customer officer, going to be speaking about that. So we are seeing that a lot more. Telcos, whether it's called a customer experience manager, a chief customer officer, whatever it might be, these senior guys are being brought in, often, I hasten to add, from outside the telecoms industry to lead customer experience efforts. But again, quite an interesting fact. doubled in a year, which I think is really quite something. Analysis Masons, Justin van der Land, again, he took a look at our results, and just a quick point on this, sort of ramming that point home. Really, whoever is in charge of customer experience needs to operate above departmental level. So if it's going to succeed across the organisation, it needs to have someone at that kind of C-suite, high level, to make it happen. Joe liked a bit of audience participation. We're going to do this now as well. We asked are customers willing to pay more for a better customer experience? Now, I've got two options here. I either ask what you think the results are going to be or what you personally think. We'll go with what you personally think. I think that might be an interesting one. So hands up for if you are willing to pay more for a better customer experience. That is the vast majority. Good. I think we'll leave it there. Let's see what the industry said. Again, this is all respondents. 62%. So I think they're maybe a little less sure than you are in the room that people are. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in other industries, in banking, you know, the HSBC premium, whatever they call it. There's a few examples out there that people are willing to pay more. Haven't really seen it in the telco space in any major way to date. But interested to sort of hear from our friends, the operators who are speaking later, whether that's something that they intend to do or even thinking about. Justin van der Land again. We all believe we're willing to pay for better quality, and I suspect we are, but only a very small amount, if anything. So it's, again, it's an interesting one to look at. No one's really kind of definitely, I'll come back to you in a second, that's good. No one's actually done that, anything kind of major at a group level that we're aware of anyway. Joe looked at the other industries. So this is obviously from the telcos. This is just the operators again. Which industry do you look to as the benchmark for customer experience? Retail, the number one, head of banking and finance and media. They're the top three, as have been really for the last few years. The kind of difference this year is a good difference, I think. Banking and finance used to be the number one, but now it's retail. So I think operators are looking increasingly at the retail sector, which I think is a good thing to do. Banks, obviously, they do some good things, but perhaps are still a bit more legacy type business like the telcos themselves. They should be looking at the retail sector, which is much more progressive and does a lot more things. So I think that's right. So I think that's good. But as I said, the top three are the same and have been for a number of years, so no real major surprise there. Adrian Bashnog again. Retailers lead the way, underlining how their focus on fast fulfillment at the same time as prioritising mobile and online as sales channels has made them poster children for customer experience improvements. Now, last one for me. This is not part of our survey, but I think it's worth mentioning. I said we looked at the C-suite a little bit earlier. You should, if you haven't seen it already, there's quite a few of our magazines dotted around the place. We did an interview with a chief customer officer, which is from TDC, which is the Denmark incumbent, so the BT equivalent in Denmark. Jens, he was appointed to the role just last December, so again, that sort of view just within the last 12 months, we're seeing these positions be taken up. And again, as I said, he came from outside the telco industry. He's previously worked in advertising and for Scandinavia Airlines. They just last month did a capital markets day where they presented their strategy for the next sort of 5 years. Customer experience is a major part of that, and Jens has been charged with driving that through. So you can read the interview in the magazine, and I encourage you to do so. Here's just one quote, and this is obviously building on what we just said in the last slide. It's important not to compare yourself with another telco. If you want to be the best, you cannot have a focus on your competitors. So he really encouraged someone from outside the telco industry telling telcos to look elsewhere to benchmark themselves against. So an interesting piece there.